Good morning and welcome to the Digital PR Summit. Very, very pleased to welcome you all today and really excited for a really great event full of 9 great sessions over the course of the day. So a little bit of housekeeping first. Please feel free to get involved on Twitter, #DigitalPRSummit. We will be sharing recordings in about a week's time. So if you can't make all of the sessions today, please don't worry. We will be sharing those on YouTube. And lastly, we will be running about a 10-minute Q&A after all speakers' sessions. So please feel free to drop questions into the Zoom Q&A box, and we will go through as many of those as we can. If not, please feel free to reach out to any of the speakers on Twitter. So firstly, I want to welcome Richard Paul from PropellerNet. Richard's going to do a really great talk this morning on using Reddit in digital PR. So Richard, if you want to join us, very warm welcome to you this morning.
I'm trying to join, James. It's just saying you've stopped my video. If you can let me in. Sorry, mate.
Let me have a look at that for you. There we go.
Amazing. Hey, how's it going?
How are you doing?
Yeah, all good. How are you?
Yeah, very well. Excited for today, and really excited for your session. So that's enough for me, Richard. I'm gonna let you take over, and I'll be back in about 20 minutes to take some questions. As I say, please feel free to use the Q&A box on Zoom, and give Richard a very warm welcome this morning.
Thank you very much. As James said, I'm going to be talking all about Reddit and how that can really benefit your digital PR from kind of every stage of your campaign. So right from the idea generation all the way through to boosting the campaign and potentially gaining coverage just from posting something on Reddit. So to start, just a little bit about myself. I'm Richard. I'm a PR director at PropellerNet. I've been at PropellerNet for about 4 years, but I've been in the PR industry and predominantly digital PR for coming up to a decade now. So I've worked across a real wide range of businesses and industry types, but throughout all of those, I've found Reddit to be a massive help in that. So I wasn't a big Reddit Redditor before joining PR, but then found it to benefit me and make my work a lot easier from the point when I started using it. If you're someone who's not too familiar with Reddit, haven't really used it, it's basically a huge collection of communities called subreddits, which cater to pretty much every single interest you could imagine. So from crochet, if you're into that, as a subreddit for your favorite musicians, football clubs, pretty much everything you could think of, all the way to if you're the sort of individual that likes looking at photos of smelly socks, there's going to be a subreddit for that as well. So goes without saying, it's a really vast place where pretty much every interest is catered to, and there's these communities of really passionate people kind of talking about daily about the topics they're interested in, which can be amazing for digital PR, but it can tend to take a little bit of a backseat against other things we tend to use in our day-to-day job. So like Google Trends, Twitter we use a lot, obviously in the past couple of years. TikTok as well has been really good for kind of focusing on new trends that are emerging as well. Ran a little bit of a survey last week, and about 1 in 10 of us currently are using Reddit kind of every day with our digital PR. About a third said that they never use it whatsoever, and then there's a good bunch of us that kind of use it every now and then. So hopefully throughout this talk, we'll give you some ways to hopefully make it become a part of your kind of daily digital PR work and help your kind of campaigns as you go from idea generation all the way to gaining coverage at the end of it as well. So to kick off, it can really benefit when it comes to coming up with ideas, especially for businesses that are maybe in topics that you don't know a lot about or are a little bit niche. But obviously established that there's pretty much a subreddit for anything, so it does cover off those niche topics really well, and alongside that, finding things that are relevant to these audiences that you've maybe not tapped into before. And then just finally, in the most simple way, it's great for providing you with just general inspiration before going into any ideas session, working on any client as well. So firstly, with those niche topics, I've used an example of something I worked on recently. A client of ours wanted to do something around artificial intelligence. I'll be honest, it's not an area I know a lot about. So my first port of call was to go to Reddit, kind of try and find out and get my head into that subject a little bit more. Very quickly, just searching for artificial intelligence. There's a ton of subreddits there that I could kind of look into. Went for the main one, just Reddit artificial intelligence, and really quickly found some cool pieces of content. So like this AI had a go at renaming animals based on what the animals look like. Could have been a really cool digital PR campaign itself, and just started getting the cogs working in my mind really around the sorts of ideas that I could come up with around the subject really. But alongside that, sticking with artificial intelligence and as an example, is finding things that are relevant to this audience as well. Obviously, landing on these subreddits, you're finding things that these people are talking about regularly that are interested in this topic, so it can help with your content planning as well. And Reddit is really useful because it kind of works completely on an upvote system. So the content that people like on these subreddits the most are going to upvote it the most, and that will sit at the very top of that subreddit. So really quickly at a glance, you can see what people in these communities are interested in the most. And then finally, alongside that, can also be great for building out your media lists. There's going to be publications in AI that I just do not know about, but these Redditors will be sharing links to them in kind of new news that's popping up in the sector. So it can be great as well for finding new titles that you can outreach to once you've kind of built your campaign. And then finally, it's also great for just general inspiration. There's tons of Reddit boards that are just worth a visit before developing any idea. I've compiled a group here, so they go all the way from Reddit data sets. I think is a great one just to go to kind of on the regular, just to see what data sets people are sharing. You could kind of land on an absolute gold mine of a data set that nobody has used before, so it's one well worth checking out. Then there's some others that are just great to see how people are visualizing their data if you are running a data-led campaign. And then the final few I've just included as their kind of great human curiosity subreddits where they can help with ideas, or just give you a little laugh in your day-to-day as well when you visit those subreddits. But alongside that and your idea generation, it can also help you in actually creating the idea as well. So Reddit is obviously a place filled with experts on every single topic you could imagine, so it really makes sense to use these people. It's free to kind of post on a subreddit and ask a question, and I've found in my time they're really responsive and can be really useful. So had this recently with a campaign for a client where, to kind of kick it off, we needed to identify pretty much every single building, the prominent building in famous skylines around the world. So taking London as an example, obviously I know the likes of the Shard, the Walkie Talkie, the Gherkin, but beyond that, was at a bit of a loss. And it also, interestingly, on Google Images, searching on Google, there's kind of no annotated images of skylines that tell you what the buildings are. So it was a little bit lost of how to move forward with this one. So found the architecture subreddit, kind of marked out what buildings I needed to identify and posted that on there. And very quickly, literally within minutes, had a guy reply telling me from left to right what all the buildings were in that skyline, and just sped up my research amazingly. There was also another person on there kind of flagged that it would make sense to use 3D Google Earth and just go along the skyline and identify buildings that way. Didn't think of it, but was really helpful. So it stood out to me as being a way that you can just very quickly, if you're not finding any help on Google, Twitter, you can go to these places where people are really passionate about their topic and are going to help you out. So really useful in that way, and can also help you run your own research or even potentially find case studies. So this is something I did years and years ago now, but it was an idea I had for a travel client, which is based around the fact that as Brits, we know when we go on holiday, we like to take tea bags with us, a little taste of home. But wanted to find out if that is the case for other nationalities. Is this just a British thing, or do people in America, do they have their own little taste of home they take on holiday with them? And it was quite hard to actually validate that was a thing before moving forward with the idea. Couldn't really find much again about that on Google. So took to all of his different country specific subreddits and asked exactly that question across all of them. And not only did it completely validate the idea, there's lots of people getting involved about, pretty unanimously about what they would pack on holiday, what that taste of home would be, but could see that from the upvotes, from the amount of comments, that was a subject that got people talking as well. So stood out as being like, this is a story we should continue with. And off the back of that, with the help of Reddit, got some great coverage out of it as well. So that was really useful to use Reddit on that, and then helped build a campaign. The only thing I would say, especially if you're kind of looking to use Reddit to source an expert, is to keep in mind that anyone could join a subreddit. So thinking back to what I did with that this kind of teabags campaign, I could have joined the Brazilian subreddit and be masquerading as someone who lives in Brazil, talking about the experience of who lives in Brazil, and know nothing about it. So you do need to go a little bit further if you're going to use someone as potentially a case study, a commenter in your piece. There's a private messaging function on Reddit. It's absolutely the same as any other place on the internet where someone could be pretending to be someone else. So you just need to validate that a little bit more if you are going to source experts or case studies from Reddit. And then the final thing, I mean, this is not digital PR focused at all, but I just wanted to include it because it shows the absolute breadth of the kind of knowledge you can get on Reddit. I moved into my house and there were some weird bugs in the carpet. I didn't know what the hell they were. Took a photo, posted it to the "what is this bug" Reddit. And again, within minutes, had someone tell me what they were. I couldn't find out anything on Google. And again, it's just an amazing place to get advice from people who know what they're talking about in their area. So it's really useful. And I think probably a lot of the time in digital PR, we maybe do hit walls with our ideas when trying to create something, and just turn into a subreddit, whatever that may be, can really help you out and speed things up a lot as well. Alongside that, there's some great tools that can help you in using Reddit and potentially in using the data in your campaigns as well. I won't dwell on these too long, but I've just picked out a few. So there's redditsearch.io, which is really good for kind of inputting any topic you like and comparing interest in that, finding out which subreddits are talking about that the most, and kind of across the board finding how that topic is being talked about, which could help in campaign creation or just generally getting a good idea of how a subject maybe you don't know a lot about is being spoken about kind of across Reddit. Beyond that, the other one I pulled out, subredditstats.com. So this goes a little bit more in depth on exact subreddits, and find it really useful for discovering kind of trending topics really. So that homepage, as you can see, shows like the highest, fastest growing subreddits on Reddit in any given week or month. So can enable you to spot trends that are emerging, and beyond that, find out a little bit more about a subreddit. So I've used the Reddit Harry Styles as an example. You can see how many comments are being posted per day, how well it ranks, things like that, and could enable you potentially in a campaign, say if you are going to be comparing celebrities, to use that data in an index as well. So it could be useful in that sense too. Alongside that, the final one, just as a know, in our jobs, there's a lot you kind of have to have your head in. You're using Twitter a lot. You're obviously working on your client campaigns. Adding another thing, being like, okay, now I've got to start looking at Reddit every single day can seem maybe a little bit overwhelming. So Unread It can be really useful if you just don't want to be, become a devoted Redditor. It's really good kind of weekly newsletters around kind of topics of your choosing that round up news and the most upvoted things from various subreddits. So it can be a great way to dip your toe in a little bit and just keep abreast of what's going on, and potentially fuel some great ideas too. So then after that, you've used Reddit for your idea generation. You potentially used it to help build your campaign as well. And then beyond that, you can actually boost your campaigns by using Reddit and posting your campaigns on Reddit too. So it isn't just a place that's used by trolls. Reddit can and has had a bit of a bad rep in the past for being a place where, it's just filled with trolls. There are still some. I've come across it. And it won't also just be now we as digital PR start using Reddit. It won't just be us, and it won't be people like me trying to identify bugs, because journalists use it too. It's this huge vast place of knowledge, and especially if you're a journalist in a niche area, it makes sense for you to be using Reddit as well, and potentially pick up your stories from there too. So I found this out the first time when I was working way back when at a sports betting company that were new to the UK market. I was very new to that world as well, didn't have any contacts to sports journalism or any clubs or anything like that. This company had just started working with Manchester United as their betting partner. And Manchester United had just signed this guy, Memphis Depay, and we had an exclusive interview with him. So it felt like a really good thing to pitch out to press, and especially like Manchester United fan sites and blogs we were trying to get coverage on. But whereas we were getting some coverage in national press, we were finding it a little bit hard to kind of break through to Manchester United fan sites and blogs. I think they're a bit wary of, kind of new sports betting partner on the block, really. So decided to post it on Reddit. I found like one of the key Manchester United kind of fan Reddit boards. And really quickly, as you can see, like 224 upvotes, shot to the top of that subreddit, lots of engagement. And then off the back of that, while my pitches to these fan sites weren't working, they picked it up just off the back of Reddit. And alongside that, some publications, I think Bleacher Report was one of them that would have picked it up off Reddit as well. So it kind of spoke to me as being like, oh, wow, this is a really useful way potentially to boost your campaigns alongside your proactive pitching too. I've just pulled out another example of something I didn't work on. It would have been a lot of fun to work on, but I think stands out as one of the best examples of just how powerful Reddit can be in making something go huge and gaining lots of coverage. And this is, I'm sure we all remember this image, but of Justin Bieber eating a burrito in completely the wrong way. Turns out it wasn't actually Justin Bieber, it was a group of pranksters trying to see if they could make something go viral. And the way they started trying to do that was going about it in a very traditional sense. They got their content, they got their picture of their Justin Bieber lookalike eating this burrito, and started pitching using email to kind of American gossip magazines and things like that. And we, after a day, just had heard nothing back, no coverage whatsoever. So decided to take that to Reddit instead. And they tried it on a few different subreddits, one of those being Reddit Mildly Infuriating, which is just filled with things we do as people that are a little bit annoying. And very quickly, it really took off on that specific subreddit, got like 20,000 upvotes and made it to the homepage of Reddit. And then obviously did get spotted by journalists who use Reddit, Ryan Basil from Vice being one of them. So then made it way across to the likes of Twitter, people posting it, gained lots of conversation. And then, off the back of it, was being covered pretty much at every single place around the world, and it's being spoken about in morning news and things like that. And it all came from Reddit. It was really interesting. So not to say that we should stop pitching and just start putting everything on Reddit, but just showing itself as a really useful tool as potentially, using alongside your proactive pitching for the right content. So a few things to keep in mind there. I think it really stands out with that Bieber story as well. It's just finding the right subreddit. They tried it on a few different ones and it didn't really take off on those, but then that kind of mildly infuriating one really worked and it blew up on there, and then obviously gained lots of coverage off the back of it. Using the right story as well. I wouldn't say this is going to be useful for every single campaign you're running, but if you've got something that is really visual, is a video, or potentially something that's maybe even a little bit controversial, worth just giving it a go. Post on Reddit, it takes a couple of minutes, see how it goes. It could end up giving you some extra piece of coverage and links as well. And then the final thing is just to be authentic. So that's the final point I've got here is, making sure you get the best out of your posts and avoid the trolls. People can be really protective over their subreddits and can kind of shoot you down for being a see-through marketer a little bit as well. So I've just got a few tips on making sure, you are posting in the right way on Reddit if you are going to post your campaign. So the first one, just make sure you're building your profile and karma. So Reddit works. Basically, every single upvote you get for anything you post translates into karma. And I've found that when I've posted stuff in the past, the kind of owners of that subreddit or people who are really active on that subreddit will check your profile out. And if you've got a profile that's like zero karma, you can see you've not posted anywhere else, kind of shows you may be a little bit see through, and I just posting it to try and get get it to go big or lots of people to engage with that content as well. So it kind of pays off to spend time engaging with other things, maybe just posting some links to other content you like, and will help you build that karma. The only other thing alongside that as well is have come across some subreddits that only allow you to post if you've got a certain amount of karma as well. So building that up helps you avoid any roadblocks you might find too. Alongside that, going hand in hand with it is looking out for the subreddit's guidelines. So for posting on any subreddit, they'll likely have their own guidelines. I've just pulled out the mildly infuriating ones here. So just make sure some of them have very specific, you have to kind of flag up a certain post if it's a link, a news item, things like that. So just make sure you're adhering to those guidelines, because it will get taken down by the moderator if it doesn't. So yeah, good to keep in mind. As well, post at a good time. So Reddit is really useful in that it shows you how many people are active on that subreddit in any given moment. So if this on Ask an American was showing 10 people are online, it wouldn't be a good time to post. You're probably not going to get many people that are going to see your content, not going to upvote it. And then by the time more people are online, there's probably been more things posted, and the thing you've posted is falling way down the list. So yeah, best to wait until there's a good amount of people online, get a good amount of eyeballs on it, get those upvotes, and then it will be kind of higher up the rankings in that subreddit when more people visit later on. Next up, keep an eye on your post and interact. Like I've said, people do, if there's a good amount of people online, they will be replying and responding to you straight away. So it's a good opportunity just to make sure, yeah, there's no people trying to pull apart maybe your data, and you can reply to them and kind of set them right. And just pays off as well, and make sure that, yeah, if you do feel it's not working, it's not getting any engagement, don't be afraid to delete it and repost elsewhere as well. Reddit is obviously such a huge space. It might be that you posted it somewhere, it's getting no engagement, but then another subreddit, it would completely blow up and might catch a journalist eye who's using that subreddit as well. Also, deleting posts doesn't harm your karma either, so is no harm whatsoever to delete something on there. Then final point, already mentioned it, but yeah, definitely make sure you find the right subreddit, kind of for everything from your ideas all the way to yeah, potentially boosting a campaign on Reddit. It all pays to making sure you found the right subreddit to post something to, really. So just wrapping up with key takeaways in each of those areas. So for ideas and inspiration, obviously, yeah, find the right subreddits related to your topic and client, see what's being upvoted and talked about the most, and potentially use tools like subreddit stats to dig a bit deeper into that area too. For your campaign creation, use those niche subreddits to kind of get questions answered quickly, gain that extra insight you need, can help speed up your work a heck of a lot. And potentially, again, you use data from that activity to build campaigns, sit inside an index or something like that. And then finally, for boosting, definitely only use it for the right idea. I think as you spend more time on Reddit, you'll see the sort of content that is getting upvoted, that people are enjoying the most. Definitely more visual pieces. So yeah, give it a trial on certain campaigns you're running, and hopefully it will pay off. Watch for those posting guidelines, interact, boost your karma. And yeah, if you do come across any trolls, it's just like comments in a piece of coverage anyway. You can just ignore them. It doesn't matter, as long as you're getting good idea, inspiration, and potentially boosting your campaigns too. It all works in the end. And that is everything. So if you do have any questions, yeah, please do feel free to send me a tweet, get in touch on email. I'll be happy to talk further about it.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you, Richard. That was yeah, really good talk. I think some really great takeaways for everyone. And really, I think one of the, if I look back to why we started the Digital PR Summit last year, we wanted to bring some variety into sessions. And I think when we first spoke about this session and the topic idea, yeah, it stood out as something we could all be doing more of it. I think Reddit is a great source, and I think you've perfectly demonstrated that today. So we've got some questions for you. Nice. And yeah, let's go through them. The first one that everybody wants to know, Richard, is what were the bugs?
What are the bugs? So they were.
Set yourself up for that one.
I know, I should have said, really, shouldn't I? They were millipedes. Weirdly, I think in certain seasons they get inside your house, apparently on your footwear and things like that, and then they unfortunately perish in a dry environment. So yeah, that's what they were. But haven't got any more millipedes. But that person helped me out because I was freaking out.
Yeah, so, well, yeah. We've answered that one. So for me, the next one really is, how do you earn links with Reddit? Will journalists naturally link back to the Reddit rather than the pages that we're trying to push? A really interesting question. And yeah, I'd love to hear your perspective on that.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think, yeah, a lot of when I've posted content, aside from that YouTube example, actually, is linking to the campaign page. So then, if that is going to get loads of upvotes, something they're really interested in, then they could potentially provide a link in their coverage. Obviously, it is up to the journalist, but then I would say as well, off the back of that, once you've found that coverage, you can obviously request a link from the journalist too. So it's not all hope is lost if they don't include it first time around. But yeah, Reddit is very link based in terms of what people are sharing. So would expect that you could see links come from what you're posting if you are posting links directly to your campaign page anyway.
Brilliant. And then another one that's come in is, can you schedule a Reddit post so that it's there at the right time?
Oh, that's a pretty good question. I don't believe you can. I think it is a case of just literally going on there and making sure that there's enough people online. I'll be honest, every time I've gone to a subreddit, it seems like there's always a good amount of people online. I can't say I've really came across it where, yeah, there's no one active on that subreddit. So I don't think you'll run into that.
Yeah,
that issue really.
Some of them are very, very active, aren't they? It's yeah, it's insane how active some of them are.
It's a crazy world on there. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's mad.
No, absolutely. And then yeah, a couple more. So I mean, in terms of how you guys are using Reddit, are you promoting all campaigns? Like, I know, as an example, I know a couple of years back, NeoMam shared some really great examples how they were sort of testing campaigns as proof of concept on Reddit. And how are you guys using Reddit right now? Sort of, are you using it for every campaign? Are you using it where you think there's opportunities to promote on there? Are you using it as sort of a second push?
So yeah, definitely not for every single campaign. I just think where it does feel there's opportunity for it, like I say. So I think mainly for things that are visual, or we do feel, I don't know, it's a little bit hard to put a finger on, and I hate the word, but feel like they have that, I don't know, like that virally aspect to them where you are like, okay, let's see how this would work on Reddit as well alongside our pitching. I think the way I'd definitely use it is while your campaign is going. I wouldn't post it on Reddit before you've started pitching, or just as you are starting pitching, maybe like a week or so into it, you've got some coverage, and then see how it might fly on Reddit as well. But yeah, definitely not for every single campaign, just for the ones really.
Right. No, and I think also it comes down to the whole sort of concept of Reddit, and if there's sort of an angle that you can cause a bit of a debate around, that I've always found that tends to work very well on Reddit as well. If there's perhaps two sides of the story that divides people, that can really, really fly on Reddit.
Definitely, yeah, conversation starters, and like even that Memphis Depay interview. Obviously, football fans are so passionate, and they're talking about whether he's going to be a good player. There's nice little kind of sound bites in that interview. So even things like that, and just for purely promoting your content as well, even if it's not for aiming to gain links, like just getting more eyes on a video could be really useful too.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And then one more that's come in. How long does it take to build karma? I've just tried to post something and it won't let me brand new you. How I build it up if I can't post? Really good question.
Really good question.
Quite a few people will be asking.
I think it kind of depends how much you're going to use Reddit. So obviously you can build it really quickly if you're going to be commenting on a lot of posts, like really active. I'd say like a good way to do it if you can't post on a certain subreddit you want to, is to comment on things and like add. It's all about adding value really. So you're going to get it through upvotes on whatever subreddit. So just comment on there, being useful, people will upvote you, and that'll build your karma. I will say, like for me, the greatest thing that helped me out was that Memphis Depay interview, because it got 224 upvotes and like, yeah, supercharged my karma. So if there's something you can find that you can post on a subreddit and it does get lots of upvotes, that's going to be great. I'd say like posting places is going to be the best way, but commenting as well and just being active is going to help you out too.
Brilliant. No, all good. Really, really great session, Richard. So yeah, thank you for taking the time to join us. I think we can all agree that it's been a really, really great session. Lots of really great takeaways. One more that we've had. What's your Twitter handle, and where can people find you if they have further questions?
Yes, of course. So my Twitter handle is at letter R and then John, JOHNP. So yeah, I'm Richard John Paul. So yeah, there we go.
Fantastic. And if you follow the Digital Loft Twitter, we are tagging all of the speakers today. So yeah, go and check that out if you do want to have a further chat with Richard on any of the topics he covered today. Great. Well, thank you, Richard. And
Thank you.
really, really great session, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Awesome. You too. I look forward to watching all the other talks.
Thank you very much.
See you. Bye.